Everybody, I got a weird setup going on here because I'm at my in-laws. Give me a second. Okay, that's better. Yeah, we can mess with this. All right. Well, let's start answering some questions. Let's wait 10 seconds for the ad to go by. Add this and add that. Here we go. Okay. Starting with Javier Flores says, I was denied for anxiety. A few years back, I've recently been diagnosed with PTSD. If I wanted to file for PTSD, would it be a supplemental or a new claim? That would be a new claim for PTSD. Mark Fleming. Make sure my volume's up. Mark Fleming says, it's a pleasure meeting you. Pleasure doing these live streams, that's for sure. This is the first time on a live, and I want to thank you for everything that you do for the community. I do have several questions. I hope that's okay. That is okay. Send them this way. All right, Marvin Jenkins has 3 comments. He says, hi, what's up? A month ago, I was denied my Gerd claim secondary to PFAS. I admit that was a mistake, but favorable finding in the decision letter confirms the Gerd diagnosed based on treatment records while on active duty. I have since been diagnosed with anxiety and sleep apnea by my private doctor. Claims pending for those as well. I suspect I had those on active duty. My question is, how do I proceed with the Gerd claim since I have 1 year to appeal? It would be a supplemental appeal. It'd be a supplemental. VA Housing Education with David Piatek says, what's going on, brother? Keep up the great work. Thanks, David. And same thing to you. If anyone here is interested in buying a home, I would absolutely check out VA Housing Education. So that way, you have someone that's kind of on your side when it comes to being in debt for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. All right, Sergio Alvarez says, my TDIU claim went from prep for notification back to evaluation phase. The claim tracker app says something about Vera along with, it's probably Terra, if I had to guess, and it's for a Terra exam, which is toxic exposure risk activity. Tracy Barthel says, if I'm service connected for tinnitus and the VA gives me hearing aids that fix my tinnitus, will I lose that rating? No, and hearing aids don't fix tinnitus, by the way. Hearing loss is one thing, tinnitus is another. Marco Chavain, I'm sure I butchered that, says hit the like button. Thank you, I appreciate that. Hit the like button, helps me, helps more veterans. Stevie B says, I have a documented knee strain in service. I've been out for 3 years. I claimed a right knee condition and was denied because no nexus was established. I have since had x-rays of osteoarthritis and fluid effusions in the knee. Should I file a supplemental claim with new evidence, or should I file a claim for right knee? If you're denied right knee, you need to do a supplemental claim. I want to know why you were denied, right? I understand there's no nexus, but I want to know what your in-service events look like. I want to know what your current diagnosis looks like. I'm assuming you didn't have a current diagnosis prior to, since you have the new diagnosis of osteoarthritis. Robert P. says, let me go back up. I got 100%. Actually, I'm not doing this right. Let me find Robert P. on my phone. I've been doing this wrong the whole time. Okay. All right, Robert P. Got 100% recently and withdrew all my other appeals, but they went and rated one anyways. Denied both increases. I don't think this will change anything. No, you have 100%. As long as those claims don't open you up to special monthly compensation, you're good. We do have a member in the chat, MK Ultra Vibes. Thank you very much for being a member. I appreciate that. I'm missing 10 years of civilian records for my back condition. Why does the VA say due to that gap it's not chronic? Even though there are cases at board saying they can't deny due to chronicity. They can deny due to continuous and chronic. That's a fact. It's kind of like the fourth hidden thing. Everyone says the big three, but on top of the current diagnosis. So you need the in-service event, the current diagnosis, which is continuous and chronic, and then the Nexus, right? So there's actually four. That's what that refers to. Wapitan, also a member. Thank you for being a member. I definitely appreciate that. He says, when submitting a buddy statement on a 4138, does my signature go anywhere on the form? My buddy signs block 9, right? If you're doing a buddy statement, personally, I would use form 10210. That's 10210. And then you'll see the underlining signature, right? Using a 4138, that is a personal statement for you. Okay, Marco Chavan says, can you file a secondary at the same time you submit the condition causing the secondary? You can, and the only way I'd recommend that is if you have the evidence, right? So let's say you file for tinnitus. Are you able to file for migraines at the same time? The answer is yes, you can, right? You could do it online, do a VSO, using a 526EZ, whatever your cup of tea is. Sean McGuire says, intent to file expires on March 20th. Do I have enough time to send Delk and make deadline? If you are reaching out to Delk Graham right now, probably not, okay? Whatever it is you wanted to file, I would go ahead and gather your evidence. You had a whole year to. And so submit those claims to at least preserve the effective date. Stevie B says, I was diagnosed in service with right ankle sprain tendinitis and left ankle tendinitis, unstable ankles. I claim left and right knee conditions and was denied because no nexus was established. Okay, so you were diagnosed with ankle conditions, not knee conditions. Your question is, you've been out for 3 years, will a nexus letter be all I'll need to file supplemental claim? That would help. Okay, now you're doing supplementals. First, claim your ankles. Okay, for your question about your knees earlier, a nexus would help that. I can't really recommend that without seeing your decision letter myself. But if you have the in-service events and you have the current diagnosis, then sure. K Haynes 253 says, any tax return tips you have for transitioning veterans, any losses or things we can claim? If you're paying out of pocket to move somewhere for business, maybe, all right? Depending on what I'm not a tax person at all. I can tell you I've learned a ton about taxes just from running CivDiv and some other personal stuff about like itemizing using Schedule Cs and like sole proprietorships. But depending on what job field you're going into, you may be able to write off more than what you're thinking about. Steve Jackson says, how can I get my medical records from 1986? The VA probably has them. Okay, you could request your C file, or you could go through the National Archives through your service and then request your records that way. T says, what up, Clay? What's good? Kilius J says, is it common to have a same CMP twice? It's not, I wouldn't say it's common, but it's not uncommon either. Had one for migraines in December, now going back end of month, already rated 80% and waiting for that in Gerd medical opinion. Depends, man. All right, Sabrina, if I file a new claim and want to file a secondary before it gets approved, do I just annotate it in remarks? You can file a secondary claim on a claim that's in the process right now. You can do that. D-Dog D, want to say thank you, Clay, for introducing me to Dr. Sharma. Awesome. I was able to get a 50% rating for my mental health disability. Haven't been able to catch you live, but I watched them and them afterwards. Appreciate you. I appreciate you, D-Dog. I'm glad Doc was able to help. For those that are interested, he's not accepting new clients right now, but periodically shoot him an email, and once he does, you can hop on that list. Gabe Olvera, I've been waiting on prep for decision for 60 plus days. Any word on why that would be the case? Gabe, I would call the VA myself, okay? And then if you're using a representative like a VSO, I would ask them to kind of peek behind that curtain, assuming they have access. Mark Fleming says, first one, what is the process and requirements for your one-on-one session where you go over details? Yeah, so, and then you sent me an email. I don't check my email anymore. It has thousands of unread emails. I'm unable to manage it. For the one-on-ones, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a drawing, like a contest almost. And people or veterans that want one-on-ones, you'll have the ability to enter into the drawing, right? What that looks like is you would share a long form video that I have on Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is that you want to share it on. You screenshot it, send me an email, and the subject line would be one-on-one. And then I have a role in my email that will automatically get put into a folder, and then I randomly select. I have a random number generator that will select an email and then go from there. That's pretty much how that happens. Javier Flores, do you know if Dr. Sharma is taking any new clients? Just answer that one, but I will again. He's not at the moment, but once he does, okay, absolutely get on his list. Prashant.sharma2@concisepsych.com. I would say probably once a month, shoot him an email, and once he's ready, okay? As you could see just from this channel, he gets a ton of clients, and the majority of them do very, very, very well. Let me check this text message real quick because it's pretty important. All right. Whoopsies, I made a mistake. I scheduled, so every day on our second channel with myself and Jason from Veterans Info Tab, we post a video at 5, okay? And I totally didn't realize I'm in Alabama right now on Central Time. And so when I scheduled it for 5, it's 5 Central. So I am 1 hour behind. Let me just make sure that this video actually goes up, and then I'll get back to answering everyone's questions. March 4th, schedule that. All right, that should be good. Okay, let's get back to answering everyone's questions here. All right, Angela B says, hello, Clay. Thank you for all you're doing. Thank you, Angela. I appreciate that. Okay, I really do. Thank you for being a member, and thank you for being a moderator. It means a lot to me. All right, Daryl Riley says, I've been denied 2 times for mental health increases, and I had a private DPQ twice. They went to C&P examiner. Both times 70%, trying to get 100. Can I contact you directly? Daryl, I don't really do direct contacts anymore. I used to. I just got overwhelmed. I have thousands of unread emails, so the answer is no. But I think you're saying you are 70% and you're pushing for 100, which is not easy to get 100% for mental health at all. So something to keep in mind. You've already been denied twice. I would recommend a higher level review, and if not, maybe we just kind of pin that one. I don't know. And I'm really saying that without seeing your evidence, obviously. So keep that in mind. Zero Caution says, telehealth C&P exam tomorrow for increase. This channel, along with 2 others, have me feeling prepared, and I want to say thanks. Thank you. I appreciate it. I hope that other channel is Veterans Info Tap. He's one of my favorites. Oh, and the other one could be Veterans Daily, right? The channel that myself and Veterans Info Tap do. Josh Beasley says, when filing for a secondary service connection, are all your rated conditions reevaluated? No, not quite. Okay, and it depends. So for instance, a good example of this would be if you filed for radiculopathy secondary to your lower back. That's within the same DBQ, and so your back will be reevaluated, right? So it really depends. But if you file for radiculopathy secondary to your lower back, you know, your shoulders, your ankles, that won't be reevaluated. All right, Tarai Daos, I know I butchered that. I apologize. Thank you for the donation, the first donation of the stream. Says, I didn't realize I attempted to file in 2016. It was rejected due to still being active. My VSO has told me this could be a problem with new attempt. Not a problem at all, right? I have tons of questions on how you actually filed that, but that's neither here nor there. If you have a condition that's been denied, meaning not service connected, it would be a supplemental appeal. That's it. Supplemental claim. Has nothing to do with anything else. I'm not sure why your VSO would say that unless there's more to the story outside of this comment. Thank you. I definitely appreciate that. Steve Jackson says, I was a radar man in the Navy 37 years ago. Now I have type 2 diabetes. Can I file for this? Thanks. You can file for anything. My question is, did your type 2 diabetes come from service? All right. There are some Agent Orange linkage between, there's the nexus between Agent Orange and diabetes. I'm not too sure what that looks like, but if you fit that mold, I would absolutely submit. Natural Builder waiting on RO since June from a man from BVA. Yeah, that sucks, man. Stevie B says, if the VA diagnosed me with MD, major depression, and adjustment disorder a couple of months ago, and I've been out for 3 years, what supporting documentation would I need for service connection? I'm currently connected for tinnitus and vestibular peripheral disorder. Yeah, Stevie, so every claim needs the big three. That's the in-service event, the current diagnosis, and the nexus, which is linking these two to military service, okay? So you have the current diagnosis, which is good. I want to know what your in-service events are. What is causing your mental health, okay? Or is your mental health stemming from your tinnitus and your vertigo, essentially? That's what peripheral vestibular disorder is. And so depending on how you answer that is how I would go about whether submitting a direct claim. Now, it doesn't sound like you have any in-service events, but if there is an in-service event, even if you can corroborate that with a statement, that'd be great. All right. Diane Oates went to my CMP today. Thanks for all the info. I was loaded with evidence. Awesome. I'd like to see that. I was diagnosed with bursitis, anxiety, malaga, random muscle pain, Gulf War illness. I have hearing loss, sleep apnea, and tinnitus. Why does the VA keep denying headaches? I'm sorry, that's another question. Diane, I'm not sure what your question is, but generally speaking, you had your CMP exam, you filed for all these conditions. I assume those exams went well, and yes, Gulf War syndrome, okay, is certainly possible. I'm going to assume you fit that criteria, and if so, if you have a diagnosis, submit the claim. All right, seismic soldiers. I have hearing loss, sleep apnea, and tinnitus. Why does the VA keep denying headaches? So hearing loss, sleep apnea, and tinnitus have nothing to do with headaches. Okay. Now, can headaches be secondary to your tinnitus or hearing loss? It can. All right. It's not an easy claim whatsoever. And so why have you been denied? My question is, what does your decision letter say? Right. Assuming the secondary connection, I want to know if you're diagnosed. 1. Right. 2, assuming it's direct, I want to know what your in-service events look like. Natural Builder CMP exams in July, both say more likely than not. Been doing this for 5 years. In July of what, last year? Any idea on time frame from RO decisions? No one can answer time frame questions ever. Mark Fleming, on service treatment records and VA medical records, what specific verbiage is needed in the records for it to be considered a diagnosis in the mind of the VA? Yeah, so diagnoses, so from your service treatment records, there'll be a problem list, okay? And depending on what actually happened, there could very well be an ICD code in there. But if you're looking for a formal diagnosis, it comes in two forms, right? And this is in relation to VA disability. Be an ICD, which is International Classification for Diseases, or an SCT, which I don't know what that means, right? SCTs are codes used by the VA. And so you could just hop open your blue button report, Control F ICD and Control F SCT, and then you can find your diagnoses that way. Sean McGuire says, I'm service connected for both knees, denied back, no Nexus, can provide okay, sorry, I had to block someone. Okay. I'll get to you, Live Life, in a second. All right, service connected for both knees, denied back, no Nexus, can provide proof of second MOS as firefighter. Was not found, originally filed for direct for back. So a firefighter has nothing to do with your knees, okay? Unless you're talking about duties and responsibilities that led to like your knees deteriorating over time. It depends on what your current diagnosis is. If it's a knee strain, that's a hard argument. If you're missing cartilage in your knees, that's a better argument. Okay, so it depends. Live Life, thank you so much for being a member. I definitely appreciate that. Oh, Bobby said something wild. Nah, I mean, how bad could it be? Whatever. It's a, people will spam. It's okay. Live Life says, BVA hearing today. The judge wants to grant. He wants an in-person exam. Letter from doctor connecting my back, right knee to service connected left knee. Where to find a doctor in Virginia or driving distance on the clock. I have no idea, right? I'm in Virginia myself, not right now. Yeah, I have no idea. Hop on the Googles. All right, Mark Fleming. I have read each of my denied letters, and I'm having problems understanding what the reasons are for each denial. I need it broken down Barney style. I was looking at different memberships, however, could not find information on what is offered at each level from Lance to Third Major. Hey, Mark, so memberships, everyone gets the same thing, which is nothing, okay? I am going to make a video on my personal disabilities and what I'm rated for and the evidence I use for each, and that will be available to members. But outside of that, it's all the same, okay? It's just for those that want to support the channel, and I greatly appreciate that. Okay. Now to answer your question about breaking down decision letters Barney style, here you go. Okay. So specifically for denials, there's going to be a paragraph that talks about what's needed for service connection. It'll just say, for service connection required, it'll say some 38 CFR codes, and basically it says the in-service event, the current diagnosis, and the nexus. You can skip that paragraph. Probably 2 or 3 paragraphs down, if the examiner gave a rationale and they included it in the decision letter, it will be there, right? So it'll say something like, although the veteran was diagnosed with whatever, the CMP examiner opined that blah, 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 blah. That's in there, okay? Basically saying a negative nexus. And then at the bottom of that little section, this is the most important, you'll see a section called favorable findings, and it will tell you 3 things, okay? For direct claims, it will tell you if there is evidence in your service treatment records. It will tell you if you've been currently diagnosed. And the third thing is for secondaries. Let's say you claim a, migraines secondary to tinnitus, your migraines is denied, it'll say, hey, favorable findings, your service connected for tinnitus. It's like, okay, thanks. So that is the Borne style version of decision letters. All right, Brandon, thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. He says, Yut, back to you. Yut. Okay. Quick question. Have you ever thought about offering one-on-ones on your Patreon? Would love to get some one-on-one perspective about my claim. I did think about that, but then that would become a pay-to-play service, which is no different than a claims consulting company. Okay? I'm really trying to maintain my sanctity, especially because I talk a lot of shit on those companies. Okay? So that's why I would not do that. My plan for one-on-ones is to keep the playing field even, and the drawing for that will be the veterans that share my content, screenshot it, send me an email, and then they can within that subject line make it called one-on-one, and then we'll do the one-on-ones like that. That was probably the worst description I've ever given in my life, but you get the point. Okay. Mark Fleming says, I have an intent to file ending on March 19th. Can I file secondary, supplemental, and new claim under that same intent to file? Do you have to? Nope, you can do it all at the same time. Okay, you can do it all online, actually, super easy. Now your supplemental, assuming it's within 1 year, will go back to that date. If not, then they'll all use that one intent to file. All right, Steve Jackson, can you use photos as evidence? Yes, you can. All right, I've actually had one veteran show me photos of IBS, which was totally disgusting. But yeah, the answer is yes. Go for it. Joseph B. Just got my sleep apnea claim approved. Thanks for your advice. Hey, awesome. I want to know, was that direct or secondary? Secondary is a little bit difficult. All right, Willpower just got a CPAC. I assume that means from the VA. Tried to file direct a year ago, but denied. Can I refile as secondary to my tinnitus or migraines? For sleep apnea, I mean, technically the answer is yes, you can file secondary. I've seen twice sleep apnea be connected to tinnitus, which I think is very weird, but it can be done. Okay, it's now 9 times out of 10 is that going to be approved? Probably not. Just giving you straight up information. All right, Sydney Leo Personal says, my husband suffered MST in 1990 and suffered alcohol abuse and was on discharge due to alcohol failure. How should he start his claim? Assuming he doesn't need a discharge upgrade, okay, you would gather the evidence and think of all the evidence surrounding that incident, and then submit for PTSD due to MST. You're going to need a current diagnosis at a minimum, and there's a significant time gap there. All right, Sergio Alvarez says, I'm back again. Hey, welcome back. What's up? The claim tracker does say Vera. However, you said it might be Terra. Okay, if the claim tracker says that, do you think the claim tracker app is a typo? If so, what does the Terra consist of? I'll answer your question, but that gave me more context, okay? Vera's probably just kind of, they're most likely, I don't want to say approval, but it's kind of like double tapping, making sure everything is done properly. Now, looking at the Terra question, Terra is a toxic exposure risk activity, and so a good example is, let's say you submitted a claim for sleep apnea. There's supposed to be a Terra exam for that, depending on your situation. So even if you request that or not, the VA will prompt a Terra exam, which is looking at like presumptive conditions and heavy particulates. Let's just call it bad pollution, Barney style. If you appeal at BVA, can you be reduced? I mean, the answer is yes. that's a very super niche question. If you appeal any decision on any claim, you know, it could remain the same, it could be increased, it could also be reduced. It just depends on your evidence. John Henry says, if I file within 1 year, all right, I'm doing this stream for 1 hour, so we have 29 minutes left. If I file within 1 year of getting out, do I get back pay from the time of illness or injury? No, you get back pay. So when you get out, let's say you left the military today, today's March 4th, you have until March 3rd of 2025, and you'll get back pay to today's date. Vanessa says, hi Clay, received good news. You and Dr. Sharma advice and guidance works. What a blessing for me and my family. Thank you and your channel for your support. Vanessa, so for everyone watching, Vanessa is a day one fan of the show, the channel. I appreciate that, Vanessa. I'm glad it worked out in your favor. I assume you mean 100%. If that's the case, rock on. She also went through Delk Graham. Dane's mom, what up Dane's mama, says, have you heard the inpatient program gets you 100% for mental health? No, 100% for mental health isn't treatment based at all. Now, obviously, treatment would accompany that because it is very, very severe, but it's treatment based is not within the criteria of 100%. USMC Big B says, thank you for all you do. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Thanks for your support. As always, another day one. Jerry Duhan says, JD, what up? I'm 55 at 90%. All my conditions are static. What are the chances of me getting a reevaluation? 0. 1, all your conditions are static. 2, you're 55. Don't sweat it. Hi. Let me double check to see if that Veterans Daily video ended up posting, because completely did not realize I was in Central Time. All right. Note to self, we are in Central Time this week. Jack Moody says, hi. Mark Fleming, I've heard you talk about Del K. Graham Veterans Foundation. They sound awesome. In your opinion, what separates them from other VSOs? Do they work with out-of-state veterans? Yes, so 2 things that separate Del K. Graham. 1, they'll meet with you online, okay? 2, they are, I don't want to say that because that would be wrong. They really, really do push fully developed claims. And so if your claim, if they see that it would, I don't want to say require, but heavily benefit from a private DBQ or private Nexus, they have a network of their own, just like any other claims consulting company does, except for they do it for free. And then within their network, that Nexus is greatly, greatly reduced to like $200-300, okay? That's what sets Del K. Graham apart from all the other VSOs, because they are fully developed claim focused FCCs. Then Lewis, if you get a if you get a settlement from Camp Lejeune, I understand it offset your VA disability claim for the same thing. My question is, if I file for different conditions, can they touch it? I want to say no. Okay. I want to say no. The only musketeer, I assume this is spam. He says, you are so cool. I'll take it. Mark Fleming, do you know if the VA primary doctors generally have a problem referring veterans to a specialist? Not at all. Not at all, Mark. So and I understand it depends on which VA healthcare facility that you have to go to, but I'll speak for the DC area. The Washington, D.C. VA Medical Center, or whatever it's called, in my experience, has been very, very awesome. And I've had 0 issues being referred to a specialist. USMC Wasan says, I just got denied sleep apnea with a Nexus letter from my primary care doc, linking it to PTSD. Do I file higher level review? So anytime someone submits a private Nexus and a private DBQ and is denied, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to recommend a higher level review, no matter what. Okay, so based on this comment and this comment alone, that's my recommendation. CVB says, by the way, thank you. The right knee, left ankle Right ankle proved as a qualifying events, diagnosis, disabilities, rationale, and service. I assume this was in reference to your other comments, TVB, which I totally forgot. Patient disability was not present in service, even though complaints, treatment, or disability similar for that claim for all three. That sounds like a higher level review, Stevie. I would absolutely have a higher level review filled with an informal conference. Florida Marine says, Clay, what's up? Received an ACE exam for my sleep apnea secondary to PTSD. She asked me if I had daytime sleepiness, and that was it, via phone. Is an ACE a good sign for sleep apnea secondary to PTSD? So sleep apnea secondary, assuming you already have the current diagnosis, is generally going to be an ACE, because what do they need to see you for? Okay, it's really looking at your evidence and then relating that to the correlating studies linking on a correlation basis sleep apnea to PTSD. All right, Jose Gomez says, go TDIU. I assume that's in reference to someone else's question, but I will say my thoughts on TDIU. I think it's the absolute, I think TDIU is the worst thing when it comes to the VA, personally. All right, I blocked Bobby, by the way. Lou Amati says, Clay was recently awarded 10% for tinnitus. It says effective date on combined rating coverage page. Is this correct effective date? There's no way I can answer that without looking at your decision letter for myself. Your effective date should have went off your intent to file date for that claim. SM says, Clay, have you seen VA Directive 1134? Yes, I have. If it mandates the VHA providers, yeah, so that mandate means dilly squat, okay, because most providers aren't completing Nexus letters and DBQs. They're already busy as is, and so every swinging, veteran isn't going to have the ability to. I will explain that. I'm glad you asked it. There is a VHA directive for that. They don't follow it. I don't know what to say. Okay. Live Life. Thank you for being a member. I definitely appreciate that. CVB, I got you. Live Life says, would you explain your comment about TDIU? So the reason why I think, personally, this is my personal view, TDIU is a scam from the VA is because, think about it, if your disabilities prevent you from working, they are so severe, they prevent you from working, okay? You should be 100%, and there shouldn't be a income limitation to that, right? Maybe you can telework. Maybe you can run your own business and start a YouTube channel where, I'm in a bed right now. I'm at my in-laws, so the setup is a little weird, right? But maybe you can have that structured environment that does accommodate to your disabilities. But why would the VA give a income clause on a veteran whose symptoms prevent them from working, which is pretty severe, okay? Why not just award them 100%? Riddle me that. That's my personal take, all right? But that's why someone's name is D's Nuts. That's funny. Okay, CVB, you have my full attention. Thank you for donating. I definitely appreciate that. Let's really deep dive into what's going on. So favorable finding, right ankle, left ankle, and right knee. Evidence shows they had their onset during service, given bilateral ankle braces for unstable ankle. X-ray shows lateral soft tissue swelling, right knee joint pain. Stevie, it sounds like a very, very clear higher level review. I'm hoping that you are within your 1 year window to submit that HLR. If not, okay, I would absolutely start gathering more evidence and prepare that supplemental claim. But it sounds like a very, very clear higher level review to me, assuming you're within that 1 year window. Raging Bullwinkle says, Clay, I'm 85, 90%, and 69 years old. TDIU is made for me. I have zero chance of making it to 100%. So, if your disabilities are severe enough to keep you from working, then you should just be 100%, right? They should just replace TDIU with 100% and take out the income barrier. Because although in your case, I assume you're not working, okay? In your case, it works out. In someone's case that has your exact disabilities, your exact ones, but is 30 years old, I just don't understand why the VA has to have the income clause when that veteran could find a protected work environment, like running your own online business, okay? Doing TikToks, right, from the comfort of your couch. That's my, I would probably make the argument that TDIU is a thing of the past, right? Especially with the amount of opportunities for self-employed sole proprietorships in today's world. All right, Tony and that's my opinion. Okay, obviously the VA has TDIU. It is what it is. Tony Gonzalez, CNP Wednesday via telecom for mental health. What can I expect or how do I prepare? Tony Gonzalez, I'll give you the synopsis version, but I want you to go look at the video. If you go to CivDivOnline.com, I'll type that in the chat right now, and click on mental health. Oh my goodness, I'm on. Okay, Veterans Daily, that's me. That's mine and Jason from Veteran Info Tap channel. Whatever. Okay, I'm not going to re-sign in. That's hilarious. CivDivOnline.com. Click on mental health. Okay, and you'll see two videos. One is mental health CMP exams. It will look at pre-service, during service, post-service. That's really what the exam is going to cover, and then it'll look at 70% symptoms and what that looks like. And it will tell you, you'll have the ability to articulate what the heck is happening up here. Okay, and here. All right, Robert Collins says, why does it take so long for the VA to approve deny after the first signature has been submitted for TDIU decisions? No idea, man. No idea. No one can answer timeline decisions. Jose Villa says, going in for CMP exam Wednesday for increase in right knee. Can I tell my examiner that my left knee hurts as well and is related to my right knee? You can, but for a claim like that, you're really going to need to submit a secondary claim. Right? Whenever you see the VA add claims to or add disabilities that weren't claimed, is like radiculopathies to lower back. Okay, looking at bilateral knee secondary to each other, probably not. But sure, you can absolutely discuss that. All right, Chris Supertramp says, I filed an increase in 2 new claims. Does the VA wait until everything is done to inform me of decisions? It depends what that timeline looks like, and so that's why we see deferred claims, which means, hey, I had a decision now. I have a decision now, but instead of waiting to grant that decision, especially if it's a significant increase, let's go ahead and grant that, and we can defer these two. Okay, it just depends. There's not a cookie cutter answer for that. Andrew says, is it normal for the VA to combine bronchitis, asthma, and sleep apnea? I have a combined rating for all of it at 50%. It is bronchitis, okay? So bronchitis is usually combined with sinusitis and rhinitis, and then sleep apnea, asthma, and COPD will be combined under respiratory conditions, right? All right, Lynn says, hey, Clay, I'm service connected for cervical spondylosis and radiculopathy, okay? I'm sure I said that wrong. Just got my first migraine cocktail at VA urgent care for a 5-day headache. What are my chances for claiming secondaries? So cervical conditions it's a better claim than going secondary to tinnitus. I can tell you that much. And so based on this alone, you have current evidence. I assume you have the current diagnosis that goes along with that. I would absolutely submit migraine secondary to your cervical condition. Secret Sauce says, huge thanks to you as always, Clay. Thanks, Secret Sauce. Appreciate that. I have one more claim I'm filing, and because of your videos, my claim is very organized, and I'm confident on getting that 100%. Hey, I'm hoping the best for you. Absolutely. Hoping the best. Zero caution. Okay, we got 14 more minutes, and then the stream will be over. Zero caution says, veterans info tap and navigating heroes along with yours, and yes to y'all's team channel. Hey, appreciate that. That our joint channel is veterans info. I'm sorry. CivDiv and veterans info tap. Our joint channel is veterans daily, and I'll actually comment below because I am on that profile right now. There it is. Okay. I'm not supposed to be on that profile, but I am anyway, so. Whoops. All right, Michael Franks. I've seen the VA deny vets private IMOs, stating vet is 100 miles away from doctor. I thought the VA didn't allow treating physicians. I haven't seen. I would love to see that decision letter. Okay, I would absolutely love to see that decision letter. But yeah, you should file a higher level review. Now, if we're talking DBQs, that's a different story. Okay. Easy Does It says, I was denied depression secondary to tinnitus on October 23. If I file for insomnia secondary to tinnitus, will I retain my intent date from depression claim? No. No, you will not. All right, Mike B says, Mike, I'm rated at 50% for mental health since 2001. I recently put in for an increase, looked over past doctor notes. 22, it indicated I was doing well, and doc stopped making appointments. Now I'm back seeing doc. YB of okay for increase versus decrease. Now you're back. So that happened in 22. Now you're going to mental health. Yeah, I would absolutely look at my 70% mental health video symptoms video. You're going to want to check that out. Go to CivDivOnline.com, click mental health. It's right below. It's on the front page. You'll see it, and then you'll see that video. All right. Iodine 117 says, my husband was rated 0% for right foot plantar fasciitis and left foot 0% pes planus when he retired. It's bilateral now. Does he have to go to PT before he requested increase? No, he can request increase. I'm going to assume that was rated a really, really long time ago. SM says, is there a mod? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's also been 10 years. Yeah, submit the increase. All right, Diane Oates says, thanks. I'm a Gulf War vet. I'm thinking most of it will be presumptive. Oh, okay. I see. All right, Kevin Nordstorm says, rated 100% P&T. Awesome. Congrats. And the worst thing is the turnover rate for doctors and psychiatrists in the VA. Every 2 years, I have new doctors and psychiatrists who don't even care, needing to explain everything over. Yeah, I mean, that definitely sucks. Now, they have your chart and your records, so that's there. But, you know, there's absolutely pluses and minuses to VA healthcare, and that's definitely a minus. Shane, hey, Clay, got 0% service connected for sinusitis. Is possible way to connect that to allergic rhinitis? I'm going to assume you meet PACT criteria, and if you're diagnosed, I would just submit for rhinitis. I would look at your symptoms for sinusitis and understand 38 CFR and see if there was a mistake made, which is very, very common. All right, USMC Wasan says, if I sued the VA in the past and they settled out of court, is that why I'm having a hard time with getting disability ratings approved? No, that's not why. VA raters aren't tracking who you are. Steve Jackson says, just got tinnitus claim. How can I link insomnia and vertigo? Vertigo is going to be a very, very, very tough sale, okay? Insomnia is a little better depending on how severe your tinnitus is, but how can you go about that? Step one, talk to your healthcare team, right? Absolutely talk to your healthcare team. All right, 4:51, we got 9 minutes. Kessler 003 says, hi, I have chronic sinusitis at 50, allergic rhinitis at 0, submitted a sleep apnea claim secondary to those. I do have a CPAP from the VA, also have obesity in my problem list, think I have a chance at 50%. It sounds like a pretty good claim, okay? Yeah, Angela B says, everyone hit that like button. I appreciate that. If everyone could hit like, I'd love you. I love you a long time, okay? DeMontez Blue says, how hard is it if I'm 90% IU, PNT to a complete 100%? Depends on you and your evidence. You're already PNT, right? You just have the income limitation. Greg says, best perk of going to the VA outpatient clinic in Des Moines, I'm sure I butchered that, is breaking my fast at the Popeyes across the street. I do love me some Popeyes. Some spicy chicken tenders, some biscuits, some honey, mac and cheese. All right. SCT code at the VA is a treatment code. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I found if you pull a summary report in your My Healthy Vet, they will list any ICD codes there. Will match with the SCT. Absolutely. Thank you. I'll have to remember that treatment code for VA. Steph Saint, thank you for being a member. I definitely appreciate that. She says, hi, I hope you and your family are doing well. We are. I'm in Alabama at the in-laws right now, which is why I'm only going to do an hour stream today. So, appreciate that. ST Bizzle says, what are your credentials or how do you know about VA claims to give advice? Yeah, so I don't have any credentials, right? I used to do some volunteering at Del K. Graham. I did some video production on their YouTube. It's probably still up there. You can check that out. And then I've just helped a ton of my friends, and I made this channel specifically to inform and educate veterans, and then big picture would be disrupt the market for claims consulting companies. Right, super small. Thank you. Appreciate that. Fragrance Man, when filing a BDD claim, will my sleep apnea automatically be service connected? I'm going to say something that's not true. I'm saying it so you get the point. Is if you're doing a BDD claim, most of what you're going to claim is automatically service connected, okay? Now, that's not true, but that's basically the gist. As long as there's no competing evidence, meaning, right, it didn't happen from service or your service didn't make that worse, you're pretty much solid. Marcelian says, brother, please give me some advice on this. I got my hand injured while I was on active duty. Ever since then, I haven't been able to lift anything heavy with it without getting really bad pain. But the issue is that I never got it checked out and I have no record of the injury. Can I claim this? You can claim that, and I'm gonna recommend a statement. If there's a lay statement that someone you know can fill out that witnessed the incident, then absolutely. Okay, but the VA is going to say, if it was that bad, why didn't you go get seen for it? All right, what time is it? 5:54, okay. Mike B says, I had my private doc fill out my DBQ for sleep apnea. He checked reviewed records back to 01, which was my relevant time frame, but didn't review C file. Will this make it a bad DBQ for the VA? I also have a Nexus letter. If the Nexus letter, so if your private doc did not review all of your records, all the relevant records for this, it really makes your Nexus letter kind of like, okay, that's just kind of the facts. It is the fact, okay. Tony Gonzalez, should I bring evidence from a private psychiatrist to my upcoming CMP appointment for mental health. What I would do, Tony, this is for everyone, is whatever company is scheduling that CMP exam, I would reach out to them and say, hey, I have evidence that I'd like to upload, that I'd like my examiner to see. Is there a way I can upload this? And I would go through the company directly instead of surprising the CMP examiner on the spot. Best B says, how's it going? What up? Any thoughts on how I could get migraines on my problems list? I've had scans and meds and seen for 2 years about them. However, my PCP won't put them on my problem list. You have medication for it. You're on a treatment plan. There's an SCT code generated. You're good. It's already there. Okay. Don't focus on your problem list. High C says, can't believe I'm still at 60% when I have severe radiculopathy in my neck, back, sciatica in both legs, crapped out knee that's affecting the other knee with finger broken, service-connected Tinnitus. All of those rated sounds like you would be at 60%, right? So they don't really add up in the way that you're equating from this comment. So, Killian, thank you so much for the super chat. I did definitely appreciate that. And we got Steph Saint. Both are members, okay? And both did super chats. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, guys. At 5 o'clock, I'm dipping out, which is in 3 minutes. So everyone else, 5 Central. Okay. Miller just did a CMP exam for mental health. The suicidal ideations guarantee 70%, currently at 50%. No, it does not. It's a solid criteria for that, right? One of many. It also falls in the 50% category as well. Same as 100, right? But that alone, no. And you know, you could just strike the word guarantee from any claim ever, right? Greg, thank you. I hope you enjoyed your Popeyes, if that was today or whenever it is that you went to that place. All right, Sydney says, adding to previous question, my husband has PTSD, major depression, substance abuse. Okay, about the MST. Yeah, so if you're claiming PTSD secondary or PTSD due to MST, you're going to want to gather all the evidence, not just medical, right? But evidence that, I see that, Greg, evidence that indicates the event happened, right? And then with a current diagnosis and current records, submit that with your claim. All right, Angela B., thank you very much for being a member and a moderator. I appreciate that. All right, Roger Vial says, I was prescribed CPAP in 22. I got you, Bobby. So I automatically get a 50%, trying to get it service connected to my 70% mental health. It's possible. It's not automatic. Greg Proctor, I saw your Facebook message. I will answer you right after this live stream. Okay? 100%. Thank you so much. Okay. I guess I can't get off until I answer these. All right. Greg, I'll answer your Facebook message here in a second. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Bobby Dees says, hey, Clayton, thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. Wanted to update you on my claim. Just found out today I'm 90%. Thank you for all your help and great info you put out. Thank you. Congrats to you on your 90. That's awesome. Okay. I'm definitely glad to be a part of that process. Greg, I will absolutely message you back here right after this stream. And then we got the big one here, right? Thank you, Stevie. Seriously. It's wild. I definitely appreciate that. No favorable findings for left knee. I'm trying to dissect that here. And Stevie, if you want to comment, I will, especially with a $50 donation, if you want to comment and add more context, do it right now so I can see it. All right, no favorable findings for left knee because you didn't have onset in service. My left knee had x-rays 2 months ago showing arthritis and effusions may be connected to my right knee. Should I file a secondary to the left knee as well? The only difference is the left knee was denied in May of 23. The right knee was denied effusions. Okay. Okay. So you had your ankles and your right knee that both had evidence from service. And then you had, which were all denied. Then you had your left knee, which didn't have favorable findings. And you're asking if you want to claim that secondary. Got it. Okay. So, what I'm going to recommend, CV, is this. Found that left knee had issues. If your left knee did not have favorable findings in the decision letter, that means there is no diagnosis. All right, so let's address that first. Whatever's going on with your left knee, and you said that you have x-rays. Oh, because it was 2 months ago. Okay, got it. So you have current diagnosis, okay, that shows the arthritis and the effusions, and then you have in-service events for your right knee and then your left ankles, and that was denied. All right, so 100%, I'm going to recommend a higher level review for your right knee and your ankles. Is your right knee and your ankles within that 1 year time frame of being denied? If that's the case, say yes again, Stevie. Because if it is, HLR. If it's not, supplemental. Okay, it's not, which means we have to do a supplemental, okay? So your right knee and your 2 ankles are going to have to be a supplemental claim. I would really like to see the decision letter myself. I'm just going to make some assumptions here that you were diagnosed and you have the in-service events. And so I would do a personal statement in any current evidence you have from 21 to right now. Submit that with your claim and get that rolling. All right. I'm also going to recommend you start gathering evidence for your left knee secondary to your right knee. The arthritis isn't going to, our arthritis isn't really a secondary condition, unless it's throughout your whole body. That's when you really see that. That's a rabbit hole. Don't go down that hole too deep. But you can absolutely submit your left knee secondary to your right. It is a difficult claim, heads up. And something to think about, Stevie, okay? I don't know what your overall percentage is, but looking at ankles and the knees, the most common rating for all of those is 10%. Now, you would get a bilateral factor there, which would be worth it, okay? And so I'm actually going to pull up Hill and Potton's calculator and just tell you what the bilateral factor would be for ankles and knees. So it would be a bilateral factor of 3.4. So it's definitely worth it, but each of those would be 10%, and that's assuming you get all 4, okay? And so if you only get 3, the bilateral factor would decrease to 2.7, right? If you only get 2 of those, assuming it's bilateral still, it's 1.9. So you have to make that decision for yourself. Is that worth the fight for 1, 10% ratings? Let's assume they're going to be 10%. And 2, the bilateral factor. If that answer is yes, then go for it. If that answer is no, I would still continue to build that evidence. And then when your overall rating would increase, then you go for it. I hope that answered your question, okay? Yeah, man. And then feel free to post your decision letter on our Facebook group. Redact the information. You can post it anonymously if you want. But other than that, guys, that's it for tonight's stream. Thank you very much. I appreciate the donation, Stevie. Thank you very much. I definitely appreciate you. Everyone who donated, all the members of the channel, all the viewers, all the 83 likes we got. I appreciate that. And with that, that's all I got. Thank you very much.